care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
So President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, just pleaded guilty for possessing a gun as a drug user and federal taxes offenses of avoiding to pay up to $1.5 million in taxes. Now, The View is basically covering this situation, and they're talking to the journalist by the name of Jonathan Karl. And I just want to basically give my insights on regards to this interview here, because once again, The View is being very biased and therefore very hypocritical in leaning more towards the Democratic side of the situation, as opposed to seeing everything from both sides of the aisle. Once again, I always say, it's a uniparty in Washington, D.C. It's not Republicans and Democrats. It's mainly just whoever's in there for their own personal gain. Now, of course, a lot of media is going to be leaning towards liberals, i.e. Democrats, i.e. progressives, and they're going to basically try to confuse the public or mislead the public into believing that, Trump is bad and anything on the Republican side is terrible. And once again, I'm not saying anything on the Republican side is great, but it's not as bad as what the media makes it to be. And the situation in regards to the president's son, Hunter Biden, this has been an issue that has been brought up many times, but nothing has been done. Now, it looks like something has been done, but my opinion is just a diversion, because the main issue is the stuff that's on Hunter Biden's laptop. But I guess that's not the issue at this particular moment. Hopefully we get there, but let's see what they say.
John Karl, are you there?
Yes, I
am here. Thank you, Whoopi. Great to be here.
So, Hunter Biden has reportedly reached a deal with federal prosecutors, agreeing to plead guilty to 2 tax charges and avoiding prosecution on a separate gun charge. Can you explain what this is about, and does this have anything to do with the laptop?
This has absolutely nothing to do with the laptop, actually.
And that's what I'm saying. Since it has nothing to do with the laptop, this is basically just kind of like a slap on the wrist, in my opinion, just to get the heat off the situation in regards to the laptop and Hunter Biden and the connection to his dad.
Actually, although the investigation may well have looked into the laptop, but what this is about, Hunter Biden failed to pay taxes on more than $1.5 million in income in both 2017 and 2018. He has pled guilty to 2 misdemeanors for failure to pay those taxes. Separately, the Justice Department, through this special prosecutor, has filed charges on a gun charge that Hunter Biden failed to disclose his drug problem when he purchased a firearm in 2018. That's a felony charge. The charge has been entered, but there's a diversion agreement. He's going to have to take regular drug testing. He won't actually be penalized for that. He has not actually pled guilty to it.
Diversion agreement, I actually experienced that years ago. Don't ask me why or how, but basically it's just rehab, and it's just basically paying type of like fines and basically showing some level of restitution to the parties that you have hurt or committed a crime against. That's all it is. So far this seems like a slap on the wrist, because I'm sure if it was you and I, avoiding paying taxes for 2 years, have a gun charge, we definitely will be hit with something more for a harsh penalty than the president's son. But we know how it is.
But these are criminal charges. Republicans will call them a slap on the wrist, but Hunter Biden now has a criminal record.
Yeah, and that's what they wanted, right?
Well, and it shows that no one is above the law, which is important, not even the president's son. Let me ask you this.
See, and that's what I think it's all about. It's just basically to say that, we tried something, we did something, the Biden's administration and the Department of Justice, they just want to basically kind of like show face, but the face they're showing is not the true face. They're still lying to us. They still want to hide certain things from us, that's more egregious than this. I mean, granted, this is an issue, but it's not a big issue compared to what's on that laptop.
Jonathan, because this investigation began in 2018. I remember in 2014, you asking questions about Hunter Biden and Burisma and what was going on with that, and was that nepotism? Why are we only seeing charges 5 years later, and why are these charges limited to these?
Quick show. She's correct, Shirley Hostin. Jonathan Carl did ask questions to the Obama's White House press secretary at that time. Here it is right here.
Hunter Biden is now taking a position with the largest oil and gas company, holding company in Ukraine. Is there any concern about at least the appearance of a conflict there? To the vice president.
I would refer you to the vice president's office. I saw those reports. Hunter Biden and other members of the Biden family are obviously private citizens, and where they work is not does not reflect an endorsement by the administration or by the vice president or president. But I would refer you to the vice president's office.
You notice that basically he asked a question but did not get an answer. I mean, it's kind of like that current White House press secretary. I forgot her name. The one that looked like Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. Kareem Pierre, whatever, basically doesn't answer the question. Just say, hey, you need to ask this person, and basically just kicks the can down the street. So he did ask a question about almost a decade prior, but he didn't get an answer. So I don't know if that's real journalism because he didn't really push back, but he asked a question.
These cases.
Well, first of all, it's important to point out that the prosecutor here, David Weiss, was appointed under the Trump administration. So his investigation, which again started under Trump, has been going on for 5 years. We don't know the full extent of the investigation. We do know that he did have access to that laptop. We do can judge based on the witnesses that went before the grand jury that he looked into questions related to his dealings in Ukraine. But, you know, it's a great question. I was concerned. 2014, this is almost 10 years ago. I found it remarkable that the son of the then vice president of the United States was getting paid $50,000 a year by the largest Ukrainian energy company. He kept getting that money all the way until 2019. And he had no apparent skills or experience on the questions of energy.
Is that a huge red flag for anybody? I mean, you don't even have to ask a question. You have no experience, but yet you're getting paid $50,000 a month, and your father is the vice president at that time, been in the Senate for like over 40 years. And obviously that's a red flag. And obviously it's something you have to inquire more about. But the press, I swear, they really truly believe that the people are so stupid. And I don't want to say the public at large is so stupid, but we're so easily distracted, especially in this last 10 years with social media.
And at that point, while Biden was vice president, he wasn't just vice president, he was the point person for the Obama administration on Ukraine.
Right.
So it seemed to me, which is why I asked the question in a White House briefing, that there's at the very least an appearance of a conflict of interest. Why did they hire him?
That's why you had that video of Biden being so bold and blatant, saying that, you know, he told them we're going to withhold the funds of $1 billion or whatever to the Ukrainian government unless you fire the lawyer that's basically investigating his transactions or his dealings with Burisma. And like you said, son of a bitch, they fired a guy. So it basically tells you that it's about quid pro quo. You know, I'll do for you whatever you do for me.
John, Republicans have been comparing Hunter Biden's case with Trump's legal troubles, suggesting a two-tier system of justice. President Trump just called it a traffic ticket. Is the criticism fair?
I mean, Trump is correct. It pretty much was a slap on the wrist. I mean, it was kind of like just a traffic ticket. I mean, basically, he got criminal charges, but it's going to do no jail time. What does that tell you? Even the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, had addressed this, and this is what he said.
Continues to show the two-tier system in America. If you are the president's leading political opponent, the DOJ tries to literally put you in jail and give you prison time. If you are the president's son, you get a sweetheart deal. Now, this does nothing to our investigation. It actually should enhance our investigations because the DOJ should not be able to withhold any information now, saying that because of pending investigation, they should be able to provide Chairman Comer with any information that he requires.
Yeah, so there. I mean, you know, what happens to one is not the same thing that happens to another, obviously due to privilege. You know, people keep talking about white privilege and supremacy and all that stuff. Nah, it has nothing to do about skin color. It's about who you know and what you know. That's what it's all about.
Well, look, there are very different circumstances here, but on one hand, it depends on what perspective you're looking at this. Joe Biden becomes president. He did nothing to stop this investigation. This investigation went forward. He insisted. He said, as recently as last month, my son did nothing wrong. Well, now his own Justice Department has entered into a plea agreement where his son has pled guilty to 2 crimes and has been charged with a third crime, a felony. So
that basically proves President Biden as a liar, a blatant liar. I mean, we know politicians are liars, but he been caught red-handed. He said my son did nothing wrong, but he pleaded guilty.
Clearly, his son did something wrong, and that shows that this went forward. He did nothing to stop it. But what Republicans will say is that it didn't look at the bigger issues. And look, we don't know, because when a prosecutor looks at a case, he makes a decision about what to charge. He doesn't tell us about what he didn't charge. And why he didn't, but this is going to be continued to be investigated. These issues of conflict of interest and playing off his name and the Biden family name will be investigated by Congress, by Republicans in Congress.
I mean, to some degree. I mean, right now the representative out of Kentucky, James Comer, is the overseer of a board that's basically trying to investigate Hunter Biden right now in the situation with the laptop. So we'll see. I mean, right now, it just seems like, a political hot potato. I mean, I want to put a lot of faith in it because, in my opinion, Republicans just basically say a lot of stuff, but they don't do much.
And the issue's not going away.
But doesn't this show, Carl, that Biden is not in the pocket of the DOJ? I mean...
Yeah, and again, it depends on...
I think that's what this is all about. Biden's basically just want to take some heat off his side and basically show that, that I'm holding everyone at the same playing field as Trump. That's what it seems like this is about. Because if that was the case, he would basically bring up the whole laptop thing.
So how do you look at it? Do you look at it and you say, look, they prosecuted anyway. His son now has a criminal record. Yes, that shows that it would seem to show there was no interference. He didn't pull the plug on the investigation. He didn't order his attorney general to pull the plug on the investigation. But what Republicans will say is that this didn't look at the bigger, more serious allegations about whether or not. I mean, the Republicans have made lots of major allegations against Biden, against President Biden. They call it the Biden crime family. They claim they've traded off their name, that they've gotten money from foreign entities.
And it pretty much already got a lot of evidence on them already. As right now, I believe James Comer already stated they have a lot of transactions through various businesses in President Biden and also his son Hunter Biden's name, with transactions that are pretty complex, but it basically still lead a good money trail from various foreign entities from China, Ukraine, and so forth, leading back to Biden's back pocket. So they have it there. It's just a matter of how they be able to decipher the information in order to make it to something they could prosecute the president on.
Illegally. None of that's been proven. There's no evidence of that, but they're going to continue those investigations and make those allegations.
So on a scale of 1 to Jared taking $2 billion from the Saudis, how does this look?
Once again, deflecting, talking about Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, which is his one-time senior White House advisor or whatever. Once again, that's what the media wants to do, deflect.
Look, I don't, want to compare it with what Jared Kushner has done, but there are significant concerns about Hunter Biden's business dealings. He has the contract that he had with the Ukrainian energy company, also his business dealings in China. I mean, one of the details that we reported earlier they were looking into that's just so strange, Hunter Biden was given a 2.8 carat diamond from a Chinese business associate. I mean, what's it all about? We don't know. Again, it's not a $2 billion deal with the Saudis. You're absolutely right. And Republicans, there's no shortage of hypocrisy coming from the Republicans who are willing to give Donald Trump a pass on everything that's come out, but are yelling and screaming about Hunter Biden.
And that's the thing. Obviously, the Republicans have to call out Trump for also his transgressions as well. But it's hard to do that when you see a lot of transgressions on the other side. And that's why I say this is just political football, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Trump has probably, not even probably, I'm sure Trump has a lot of dirt underneath his fingernails. But the Biden administration got shit on their hands. And that's the thing. So both were pretty much wrong to a certain degree. But in my opinion, Biden and his administration and his family 10 times worse than Trump. I mean, Trump got his issues, but not like this, in my opinion.
That hypocrisy doesn't mean that there isn't something fundamentally at issue here with Hunter Biden.
Of course.
No, very well said, John. And I want to ask you, do you think that this will have any impact on the 2024 general election?
I'll end it there. I mean, basically, of course, it will have a significant impact on the general election coming up in next year in 2024, because this is going to be something that has to be addressed and taken care of. But would it have much impact? I say no, because the Hunter Biden laptop situation was already brought up in 2020 by Trump during a debate with Biden. And Biden was still able to deflect, and the media supported him. The bottom line is that you want to have the truth to always reign, whether it's on Trump's side or Biden's side. I just want the truth to always reign. And that's the situation going on right here. So Hunter Biden basically got a slap on the wrist, in my opinion. But you let me know in the comments below. Do you believe that Hunter Biden, pretty much got off easy, or, he deserved more? Let me know.